Woo, Lord! Might have took a few things, but we made it. We made it. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Kimray, and I'm back with another video on Kimray Music TV. And it's been some time. We have lots to discuss, but we are specifically here to talk about Love is Blind Season 7, episodes 1 through 9. We're just gonna talk about the couples all together. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video. This is a live, so I want to go ahead and make sure we are in fact live on Twitter. I already knew this was coming. I already knew. This is why we don't record. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Kobe. Okay, guys. So while I do that, if you guys will make sure that you are commenting down below how you found the video. How did you find me? Were you watching other reviews? Like I've been watching other reviews of the show. Did you just happen to stumble upon me from something else you were watching that had nothing to do with the show? I want to know. Okay. Let me see. Wow, my I thought like it had been some time since I got on here. And it has, but it hasn't been as long as I thought. So let me see, because oh, here we go. Here we go. One more time. Let me make sure I'm heard. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm heard. I just want to make sure y'all can't hear all these fans because these lights get hot. And I'm not turning off the fans. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Okay, but I am going to tweet this. Join me now and let's chat. I'm live. And make sure I have my little hashtag. Oh, not as typing all that. I'm live, honey. Live. And then I'm just missing the hashtag. Let's see. Love is blind. Okay, y'all. So there are essentially 6 couples. There's actually 7, but that 7th one, honey, they ain't make it over. They ain't quite make it over. But there are 6 couples, right? And we're going to discuss some of the things that they are battling, which are real life things, normal things. Y'all know I love to get into the nitty gritty about the things because communication is my thing and sociology, just the understanding of people, period. And just like empathy and all of the things, relationships, and just how we move as human nature. So I like to talk about the things. Love is Blind has really been pumping out the episodes, pumping out the seasons. They've gone international, and I don't know if Nick and Okay. So the internet went out. I'm back. And I guess I had to connect to my hotspot and a whole lot of other things. So the internet that I pay for, I'm gonna need y'all to get this together. I need y'all to get this together. But anyway, okay. So yes, we essentially have 6 couples, a seventh one that made it through, that didn't make it through, but I guess it's going to be worth mentioning. As you guys know, if you have not seen the season, this is filled with spoiler alerts. Okay. Or this is a spoiler alert because this is filled with spoilers. Amen. um because I've watched episodes 1 through 9. Me and Bay have watched episodes 1 through 9, and it's like we here, let's go. Okay, so we're gonna do the couple breakdown. I was saying before we got really interrupted by the Wi-Fi outage, that I don't know if Mr. and Mrs. Lachey are in charge of all of these different branch offs, but Love is Blind has gone international. They're like, hey, we not gonna stop just because we not mainly speaking English. We're gonna do voiceovers and subtitles, and we're still gonna take it to all of the many different lands, because one thing that we all have in common as a people is relationships, right? And how we understand each other and love. And no matter what the culture is and what the divides are, we still essentially all want love at the very root, the very basis. Okay. So let's go ahead and break this down. We could start with Leo and Brittany, which really are not worth mentioning to me as far as a couple, as far as who have made it through the things. I believe that Leo was just so pressed, hard pressed. Y'all see how hard this is pressed to get a woman. When he was battling between him and between Brittany and Hannah, it was really frustrating to watch because they were nothing alike. Brittany was really superficial in my opinion. She let it be known though. She was like, I'm used to being taken care of. I'm used to being wined and dined. I don't understand what you're bringing to the table if it's not that. Okay. And he kind of played with the two of them a lot. Now, Hannah, she was kind of, well, not kind of, she was very self-conscious and, child, can't get my words together. She was, insecure. Okay. And I feel like she had worked so hard to be secure that what she was putting out was insecurity. Now, I was confused by it at first because I'm like, she doesn't want somebody who just wants her for her body. And, just a couple years ago, she weighed such and such amount of pounds. But at the same time, she was getting on Nick because he was flirting with her and but then saying like, I want you for you, and I think you're sexy, and I think all these things. So it's like, girl, which one is it? Like, you're upset but you happy, but you're not, but you are. And Leo was just given that he just wanted someone. When he was talking to the guys and he accidentally was talking about Hannah but he called her Brittany, it was just like, dude, like, get your stuff together. I think that a coworker of mine had mentioned nobody had really brought up like his grieving process, or that the fact that he's lost all these people and he hasn't taken the time to grieve. He's gained all of this money, and in his mind, all he's missing is the woman. Well, it may be just be a time to find yourself. It may be just a time to get a therapist, work some things out, invest in the things. It's not a time to now project all that on a woman. Okay, I'm gonna get off them because they didn't make it through the show. He proposed and everything. It was kind of lackluster, and I guess they went off to Miami because, like I said, Brittany was chasing a bag. She wasn't concerned. Okay, so since we're talking about Leo, we can go ahead and dovetail into Hannah and Nick. Now, I will say Nick in the pods, he was cool, calm, and collected. He was given all they needed to be given as far as swag. I was like, okay, Jack Harlow, give it to us. Give it all to us. Hannah was the one that was loud and bubbly. She had this, Southern accent. And, my concern for her was when she first gave him up and broke up with him, she was like, she's seeking Leo because he's so real and authentic. And everybody telling her like, girl, no, he ain't. But I feel like what this experiment kind of shows is, although you have this list in your head of things that you want your man to be, and then you think about your track record of what you usually go for, a lot of times you just can't help it, right? The things that come out your mouth, the things that attract you, the things that you're seeking are the things that essentially do not bring the person that makes up that list. A lot of times they are the things They are the person that is just really not good for you. So the experiment is good because it takes away the physical aspect, but it also is like all of the things that you tie to the physical aspect, it should challenge you in that way. You don't have to worry about like getting yourself dressed up to look a type of way. But I do believe that the cameras add a certain aspect, right? You're not going to be on the cameras looking any type of way, but in the moment, you do not have to be concerned about how you look and how you're being perceived by that person, or perceiving that person a type of way because of how they look, right? So I do think that that's a strong advantage, but I also think that it contributes to how we show up in the world. Hannah is used to showing up a type of way based on, you know, her looks and based on her job and based on all of those things contribute to the way that she looks. So she is articulating herself to Nick of how, you know, she's usually perceived in a type of way, but it's like, because you're usually perceived that way, that's how you're presenting yourself. He doesn't know you from a can of paint. So you saying all those things, the relevancy it's like, is it even relevant to mention? I think that is a conversation that a lot of us are not having as far as the couples. It's like, you go out your way to explain something about yourself that this person would or would otherwise not know, but it contributes to how you show up in the world. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, let's fast forward to, you know, Hannah and Nick, they hook up, you know, hook up. They see each other, they're rolling in the everyday life of things. You know, Hannah was presented very uptight. When they were in Mexico, and they're on the beach, you know, he's having fun with the ducks, with some random older lady. Even when she told that story back, I was like, the lady never called her the B word. She never called her that. And you also you didn't want to go. He asked you about going and joining. Y'all are having fun. Like, you're on this all expense paid trip, from what I think. And y'all are new to each other. Like, why not? Like, you seem like you're the fun person. But one thing as we continue to watch her that I kind of identified with was her very like hard exterior, her way of making jokes and making light of things that maybe otherwise be hurtful. Like, she's a big sister. So I identify with that a lot. Even when we meet her brother, who is a part of the community. Come on, what's up, fam? Part of the community, and we meet him separate from the parents and maybe the grandson or nephew or little brother. I'm like, yeah, clearly, like, she's restored a space for her brother to be himself. This is just what I perceive, and maybe her parents don't, or maybe the scheduling was not lined up. I don't know, but Hannah's also very clean. She's very like responsible, financially literate. Like, she quit her job to be on the show. Like, I think that a lot of her priorities around being a responsible individual take over like her ability to just enjoy the space. I also think that if she did meet somebody who didn't live in their parents' basement and you know, was a little bit taller, because she seems to keep mentioning that, I feel like maybe she wouldn't be so mean. Maybe she could let her guard down some. But I also feel like her personality type attracted Nick for a reason. I feel like she is used to something in Nick. She's used to that and therefore attracted that. But I think that when you go on this show, you want something different. Now, she is very mean to this man. She is very mean to him. I mean, when he comes to the house and he goes, oh, you know, this looks like home, and she's cleaning, and she's like, why does it look like home? Because it's clean. Oh, well, okay, so we're gonna have to sit down and we're gonna have to talk about, like, it just very much gave like me about 5-6 years ago, like, girl, why are you so upset? You know, but I think she's so upset because she wants this relationship. She wants to have fun. She knows that he's a cutie. She knows that he loves her now, but it's also like, he's not, Hannah, he's not your guy. I don't think he's your guy. And if he is your guy, you're going to have to let so much so much of your guard down to be with him. I will say her parents were even like, you know, when they met Nick, they were like, yo, like, are you serious? Like, you going hard. And I think that, you know, I don't think anyone can tell Hannah anything. I do think that she would have to come to it on her own. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think I wonder about the other personality types and how she would have gelled with them. Like, yes, Leo has all the money and all the things, but would he show up? Would he be cleaning? Would he be, I don't know. Like, I feel like everybody comes with their things, right? And because she's so headstrong on being responsible and having all her things together, I just wonder what her thing is. But if you were to ask me if I felt they were going to make it down the aisle, my answer is no. My answer is no. Now, I do like how she clicked with the family. She brought gifts. I like how he clicked with the family, because at the end of the day, like, these are good people. They have good families and good places that they come from, and people know how to like put their best foot forward and show up how they need to show up for the camera, right? But at the end of the day, does that mean that you guys should be married or even dating? I also want people to understand, like, in most cases, people get together, they start dating, right? And they date for a while, and they get to know things before they like take them home, and especially before they like pop up on camera and welcome all the opinions and thoughts and views of the world, right? So it is a different pressure, but they are essentially like protected in these little in the pods, but in these little shells for a long time to just get to know each other. But my question to y'all is, when you're getting to know each other, how much of that is affected by how you show up in the world? Like, if I were to pause my life right now on everything else that I do to just go into a pod and get to know someone, I wouldn't do that because I'm in a relationship. But even if I did, like, you're taking away like my life as a dean, which I am that 40 plus hours a week, right? Like, that is what I do all day, every day. And even when I go home, I'm getting my mind together in preparation for that for the next day. It also takes away like how I show up as a partner to my person. Like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be doing that if I was in the pod, but also like me as a dog mom, like when I get home, like I'm taking my dogs out, I'm going on a walk, I'm going to the gym every day. Like, all of these things shape who I am. So if you took all that away for, a week, 2 weeks, and I'm just like in a pod, I feel like you do show up a little, just a tad bit differently, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next couple. Let's talk about, I'm saving my people for the end. Okay, let's talk about Garrett and Taylor. I think that Garrett and Taylor are a really cute couple. I think that they vibe really well. I think that the, long distance or the desire to want to move to San Diego is weird to me, because I'm like, Taylor, you came onto this show like on this coast, like, so to ask someone if they're going to do that, unless you brought it up in the pods. Now, I will say one theme for this season is just a whole lot of stuff being brought up after the fact. Like, this stuff was not discussed in the pods. It's very strange to me. Why were we not talking about the things in the pods? But yeah, so like they matched pretty quickly, in my opinion. He proposed, like, they look very cute together. She's a very pretty girl. He's upstanding. Both families are upstanding. I think her family didn't want to be on camera. And so I don't think that that's abnormal. Like, I feel like most families wouldn't want to be on camera, because it's just like, a lot of families are not supportive of certain things, like, no matter what's going on, no matter if it's your happiness, they're not concerned or supportive of all that riffraff, right? So I think my only thing with them two is, the previews make it seem like they're going to have some issue. I don't see it. I feel like that they communicate very well. Like I said, the only potential problem is that she's trying to get him to move to San Diego, and he's a very family-oriented person. I could see that presenting as a problem. I do think that she could be a little cold sometimes, and maybe a little guarded. It could be because of the cameras. She's kind of like more analytical. She's like analyzes things, and she smiles a lot, or I don't know. Like, I don't know if she's just that type of person who just like speaks when she has something to say. I feel like she don't be having much to say. I don't know. So if you had to ask me if I think they're going to make it, I do think they're going to make it. I think that they will navigate, whatever issues or whatever problems present themselves with the long distance and with the things. But I don't see them having any other issue per se. Now we could talk about their friends though, Monica and Steven. Now, Monica, she worked my nerves. She did. She worked my nerves because Monica presents on this screen as someone who is, I don't want to say bougie because I present as bougie often. Okay. So it's more than just bougie. It's almost like snobbish. It's like uppity. It's like condescending in her tone a lot of times. I felt sorry for Steven all up until we got the news. Okay. So I feel like if I were to break down their relationship, I would say that I understand them matching, right? Steven is fun, he's funny, but like I said, Monica does this whispering thing. It's weird. But then when she said her dad does it, I was like, okay, well, if dad does it, then clearly she's around it enough to soak it in. Steven, wait, what was I about to say? Oh, Steven's hang up on being a fifth or a third Black. That's weird to me. Because of how much it's mentioned as if it's a badge of honor. And then Monica being mixed race as well. I don't know if she's particularly like Harriet Tubman type of Black where we just like, we stand up for the freedoms, we do all that we need to do, or if she's more like, yeah, my hair is mixed. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know that it matters, but I feel like their whole vibe was pretty just like weird to me. Like, although he was more outwardly awkward and outwardly like obnoxious, I feel like she had a lot of things going on that I didn't quite understand. Now, I will say, like, her being like, I'm not with this man for any amount of money. Like, that's not what I need. Like, I just need you to show up as authentic. Like, she kind of was on that thing. And I thought that was unique because I'm like, you clearly can tell that daddy treats you a certain type of way. You are used to a certain type of treatment. And if your dad doesn't do it, then you do it for yourself. And I think as women and as people, we have to be honest with ourselves, right? If you truly, truly, truly are saying that your person doesn't have to bring a certain amount of money to the table and you will be the one to do those things for yourself, does that mean when you go out and do those things that you're going to leave your partner at home? Because your partner is not going to, if they don't want that for themselves, they're not going to be about that lifestyle for themselves. So at one point, you guys are not going to align. And are you going to be okay with that? I think that's the conversation, because a lot of us don't want to look like a bad person or a person who's like messed up for wanting to be with somebody with money. But you have to think about what you bring to the table. And if what you bring to the table affords you a certain lifestyle, are you okay with your person not doing that and not ever wanting to do it? Because then if they desire to do it, they may gain some type of resentment for you because they're trying to do it to keep you. I know I'm speaking truth. I know I'm speaking real tea. Okay. So anyway, Monica and Steven, what was annoying about them is that Monica's saying that he's not doing all the things that he said he was going to do, like in the pods, like buying flowers daily, like all the things. The annoying thing about her was she was like passively aggressively, subtly, outwardly, aggressively mentioning the flowers over and over and over and over. It was such an issue when he was with his friend during the fireworks and not with her. But I feel like all of these were indications of how he felt about her because she just kept pestering him. And the thing is, like, maybe y'all just wasn't going to work. I think when we pester our partner, we should take a step back to understand that you should never have to pester or push a person. If they're not there, they're simply not there, and they simply are not the person for you. And I think that if Monica was watching, like as she watched this season back, she probably was like, yeah, early on I knew, because certain quips and certain things would have told you in self. And I think that we kind of push ourselves to try to keep trying and, give this a chance and all the things. But just like kind of how she was like mocking him, like, oh, so sweet, like during the fireworks, I was like, girl, you don't like that man for real. Because if you're willing to do that in front of everybody, like there's a certain restoration and a certain protection that you have for a person that you really like, where you don't do them like that in front of people. And she did not care, honey. She did it anyway. So that's interesting. The flowers conversation was interesting. He went all out to take her to this pressed flowers place. But I mean, that was cool. But the thing is, like, I mean, they sell flowers off the highway. When you're sitting at a traffic light, they might be selling flowers, or just running to the grocery store real quick. You picking up a beer, pick up some flowers. That's all she's asking. So I think it was weird that he thought that it had to be the top tier, like the best of the best, the one time, versus plenty of many of flowers, like quantity, the amount of times that she's asking, because this is what you said, versus like you trying to just aim top tier because that's what you think that she deserves, or that's what you think that she wants, because this is how she presents. Okay. So when Steven popped out and cheated, I want to say that cheating is never okay. Okay. Cheating is never okay. But I got into this conversation with my partner about like the psychology behind cheating. Like, I really do feel like a lot of people cheat because they don't want to get out of what they're in, because they know that it takes work. They want to apply the things. They want to hold on to this person. But they're also like, I'm really sad. Like, I'm really not feeling fulfilled. I'm really not getting what I need or want. So I'm just going to go get it real quick. And then I'm going to come on back and I'll be ready to go. And then we'll be good to go. But see, it don't work like that. Because now you've broken whatever commitment you have with this person, and it's not ever going to work. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You just can't, unless you do pieces. And then, well, that's just not balanced or Scorpio-like, okay? It's either all or nothing. So when he cheated, I felt like this was like a scapegoat for Monica. I don't think that she went through his phone. I think they were waiting to go out with Garrett and Taylor. And, you know, she was looking to see if Garrett had texted, and under that message, he had been flirting with some girl, sending like all these inappropriate messages. But I'm like, Steven has a very interesting appetite with sex, first of all, okay? He was just seemingly always talking about that. That's something else different going on there. I don't know that Monica is on the same thing. Hopefully Steven find what he's looking for, right? But I do think it was interesting that Monica was so hurt. She was so hurt, but she did not show that she liked this man like that. And then I was thinking, you went out of your way to keep saying what he promised in the pods and what he wasn't doing. But what were you doing for him? I think that was worth mentioning, because I feel like she felt like she was the bee's knees. It wasn't nothing wrong with Monica. It wasn't nothing that she could do to make the relationship better, except I'm just going to tolerate you till you get it together, until you arrive to the point that I need you at. That's a problem. That's a problem. That makes it seem like you had nothing to work on. You was just perfect. So Monica and Steven did not make it, did not work out. But I am interested to see how she's going to flip this for the reunion, because if I had to pick a villain, my villain stance for the show, Leo was number one, because he was not authentic. Number two was giving Monica. I mean, Hannah and Monica are a close tie, because Hannah just fixated on Nick and she was just going in, right? But I would say on my villain list, we got Leo number one. Number two is Monica. Number three is Hannah. Who are y'all villains if we had to choose antagonist versus protagonist? Okay. So let me see who's next. Somebody's calling me, honey. And I ain't got it for you right now because I am loud, live, and in color. Okay. That's how I send you the voicemail here. Okay, we talked about Hannah and Nick. We talked about Leo and Brittany. We talked about Garrett and Taylor. We talked about Monica and Steven. Okay, let's go on, move to Marissa and Ramses. Okay. Now, Marissa is unique because she's very bubbly, very positive. I really liked her like quickly. on the show. I was like, oh, she's always laughing, like super cool. We know that she liked Bodie a lot. So her two that she was trying to decide was between Bodie and Ramses. Now, those two couldn't be more different appearance wise, but as far as personalities, I guess they were pretty much the same. Now, Marissa is an 8-year Navy vet. And although a lot of us veterans try to act like it's not a part of our lifestyle or a part of, who we are, essentially, if you leave the military and you did less than 20 years, like you willingly left, you did less than 20 years, you most likely left because a lot of the regulations and a lot of the expectations are just a little bit too much, and you want to just be a little bit more free, right? The military is great for a lot of things, but at the end of the day, the military runs the show. So if you leave, you guys know I'm an Air Force veteran. If you leave, you are making a decision to kind of take agency over your own life and the things that you want to do. Now, I will forever be thankful for my service, just like Marissa was saying. But, you want to seek other things out there. But it does provide a sense of stability that most jobs just simply cannot. I have not found one that can. Y'all know I work in education, and that's probably the closest thing. Education, the medical field, it's not too many, because I'm sorry, no job out there other than military has 100% free medical. Nowhere, not none. Okay, so that's unmatched there. So yeah. She let Bodie go because she felt like she had a stronger connection with Ramses. I think that this is another situation where her list in her head strayed from what she normally goes for, right? She was kind of thinking with her hormones, because she was kind of listening to Ramses. She know that based on his name and based on some of the things that he was talking about, she knew that they were kind of more equally yoked as far as culture, and she was right. And Bodie, they weren't equally yoked, but see, they were equally yoked as far as her military culture, which carries, I'm telling you, as a veteran. And if you grew, it's one thing if you were in yourself. It's another thing if you grew up in that lifestyle. I grew up as an Army brat. We moved around a lot. My grandparents were in, my parents were in. And she says as well, she grew up. Now, her upbringing is kind of confusing to me, but as military, it could literally be all the things. She says she grew up Mormon. She grew up where her parents were in the military. But then her mom tells a different story of them being very poor. Now, it's a lot of different things going on there. But anyway, she ends up letting Bodie go and focuses more on Ramses. Now, I didn't see no issue with Ramses. I actually really championed this couple. They were kind of like my number one and number two. I was like, man, they just get each other. They just vibe. They're all over each other. Like, as far as a physical aspect, he seems kind of chill. Like, he got his two little locks in the back. He's like very progressive in his thinking and in the way that he does things. Now, I thought the whole time I kept saying, babe, he's definitely Indian or more like Asian, something there is Asian, because I think they were saying his last name and it sounded like it. But then when I found out he was from Venezuela, because I kept saying, why he keeps speaking so much Spanish? Like, is this a front, or is he really, So when I found out he's from Venezuela, I was like, well, everything I thought was a lie. I don't know. Anyway, they did pretty well, matched up. It wasn't until, he was making dinner, she came home, she was like upset about, or just bothered, not really upset, bothered about like this commute. And, she's like, I'm in law school, I'm doing the things, this drive is horrible, whatever. They start having a conversation about the military and his disdain for the military. And I was honestly shocked, because I'm like, is this not something that would have came up in the pods? Like, maybe it's something that she didn't really mention like that, because a lot of times you don't mention it because it is a certain part of your life like that happened moving forward. Like, most people can identify with it. And if you can't identify with it, I'm not going to spend time talking about it. But it's not like traumatic, and you're not like out at war like a lot of people would think. Like, the military is so vast, and that's something else that they were saying. Like, it's really nuanced. Like, in most cases, like over 80% of the military, you are not what's commercially out there about the military. You're not like killing people. You're not someone who's like overly patriotic or someone who like is like, protect the country at all costs, like very militant, very like outrageously I can't even think of the words, because in most cases, like, the military is a job, and yes, at the very end of the day you are working to protect the country, but there's so many different aspects of the job. You could be a dental hygienist, right? And your job is to clean teeth of the people who are going over to protect the country. Or you could be a person who works in the gym or works in, the eating facility, or who works in, you know. So when Ramses has these thoughts and ideas about if you're associated with the military at all, like, I can't I can't understand how you would be such an advocate for the military because of how many lives they've caused to be lost. Like, that part to me is like, do you realize you're talking about like 50,000 people? You're talking about like 5 different branches. You talking about men and women. You talking about people who stay in to provide, a way of life for their children, who stay in to provide like educational benefits, so that they can go to college and get all the degrees. You're talking about people who, I mean, like, there's so many different people. There's so many different goals and missions. And yes, while at the end of the day, that's what it's for. He is speaking like someone who's been burned by the military. And coming from Venezuela, I don't know much, but from what I hear, they don't have very good relations with the United States of America's military. So I get his standpoint, but I'm like, he's being so stringent and closed-minded. I'm like, if this is the love of your life, how are y'all going to get on the same page about this? Because y'all have essentially had no other issues, but this is a big issue. Y'all talking about having kids, like, that's a big issue. That's a big issue. Another issue is when she's like, in which to me, in Mexico, y'all already messed around. Well, clearly y'all didn't use no protection. And now y'all having this conversation about if you're going to, like, he wants her to get on birth control because they both realize like they have different timelines for when they want to start having kids. And he's like, yeah, just get on birth control. And she's like, no, yeah, just use a condom. And as progressive as he is in one stance, he's like, then it's not enjoyable for me. And I'm like, well, you better figure out how to make it enjoyable, because what it sounds like is where you're progressive in other places, you're not progressive here. Which is the same for Marissa, because she is holding tight to that military, honey. Which I get it, because the military has probably provided a lot for her lifestyle and for her family, like a lot. I understand that part. So I was just like, this is interesting. This is interesting. Another big talk was Marissa's mom. Marissa's mom was a lot. She was a lot. It seemed like a lot of unhealed energy there. They clashed in a lot of places. She is a person who says what she's thinking. And that was very jarring for me, because I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot to have on camera. That's a lot to like represent you and who you are. Like, you got Marissa, this fun, bubbly, like progressive type personality. And then her mom was just so dark. Her mom was so dark and so like, I'll cut your balls off, and you will treat her right, and there will be a prenup. And Ramses is kind of just, I mean, he kind of looked like he was high, but he was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna hurt your daughter. I don't want your daughter's money. Like, and I believe him, but I'm also like, the mom was going hard, and all the siblings were kind of just like, yeah, that's our mom. Like, so if you had to ask me if I feel like they're gonna make it, I don't know. I don't know, because the things that they're having issues about, they're pretty big issues. Now, I feel like when people say, oh, love can get you through all the things, I feel like love can cause you to have a different outlook on things enough to want to work it out. But I don't know that love sustains you through such vast opinions and perspectives and like ways of life. Like, everyone knows the big things that really break up relationships or cause you to not move forward are religion, Politics sometimes does it, right? Especially in these times. Finances and just like family, like your ways of how you want to raise kids versus someone else. So good luck to them. But I will say, between that mother, Ramses, and them two locks hanging down, and just the whole condom and birth control situation, that talk irritated me because I'm like, yeah, this is 2024. And if you as a male are not willing to take some type of responsibility in this protection part, but you want your partner to take hormonal, emotional changing medication or get something input in their body, but you don't want to put forth no effort to, and then you probably gonna complain about how it's causing her to act. Nah. Nope. All right, y'all, let's talk about Alexandra and Tim. So I will say I did not see it for this couple, because when Alexandra, first of all, Tim was a little annoying in the pods and he kept doing this dog thing. And I wonder if he's a cute dog, because that would make a lot of sense. He kept doing that and it was getting on Alexandra's nerves. And I was like, oh, this gonna be an issue, because I don't know that Alexandra or Alex is gonna like who he is, because he was just being goofy and stuff, but she was so annoyed by it all the time. Like, even when he chose a hat in Mexico, she was just like, I hope you're not choosing that hat. And I was just like, girl, it's just a hat. It's what he likes. Let the man wear the doggone hat. Jesus Christ. But anyway, they had some fight in Mexico, and I guess she had called him out of his name. She was yelling at him. She was doing all the things. And he was like, hey, that is a non-tolerable for me. I cannot move on. I cannot persist. I cannot do it, period, if I am spoken to like that. So when I heard that, when I saw that, because, they didn't show us all the things, I was like, oh, yeah, I got that vibe from her. I got that vibe that, like, she can get a little nasty. She can get a little mean. And I am feminist all the way. I go hard for women. But one thing I will say that we do is we think that we can just dig and dig and dig and dig at a man or at a person, period. We think we can just dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And then we want to jump scare and be super like when the man reacts. So I don't respect that part. I do think that as a collective, we do need to work on that, because it's just not cute. This is not cute. It's just not cute. So when they made it past that, I was like, okay, they, drove the little thing over the bridge. Seemed like he was good to go. He's another veteran. I was like, oh, they got a lot of veterans, which makes sense, because my partner was like, yeah, they're in the DOD or in the DMV, not DOD, which is the Department of Defense, but they're in the DMV area. So there's a lot of veterans. So that made sense. I really did like to see the amount of veterans and the amount of Black couples, because me and Bay always talk about the Black girls on here, their hair be looking a mess. Because I think it was last season. I'm not gonna say the hair be looking a mess, or they don't have very many. So there were a lot to choose from. But anyway, let me see. What was I talking about? Oh, Tim and Alex. So a couple standout things. Tim's place was fully put together. He had like this, really like masculine type of place. It was a really nice place. And I feel like he should be very proud. But one thing about him that was unique is that he kept talking about his sisters that have passed away. And it caused me to be like, okay, like, is this your, like, are you trying to trauma bond? Are you trying to because I don't think he's intentionally doing it, but I'm like, have you understood so much that this relationship with your sisters can drum up something in women so much that you kind of lean into it because of some type of therapy you've done or some type of conversations that you've had where you like really revere your sisters in your life. So you kind of Y'all know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, Lord, I mean, he kept bringing up these sisters, and then he gave his bracelet to Alex, and I was like, his sisters have passed, and you're giving like this bracelet from your sisters to her, and I'm like, you ain't even seen her yet, you ain't even met her yet. Like, it's one thing for her to see it, hold it, understand, but it's another thing for him to give it. Child, what was that? Okay, hold on, y'all. Because something definitely made noise down here. What was that? How weird. Anyway, and I don't want them to start barking, but it could have been my trash because it's trash and stuff. See? Okay, it's enough. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. Anyway, I don't know. That was an interesting thing. So, but that's what really, I will say, that's what really tied them together, because it was like, and I keep wanting to call her Nicole because she really looked like my old roommate Nicole, but Alex was very touched by that. So I don't know. Now he could be, if he has tattoos and the sisters' names are tatted somewhere, like I would kind of understand, So I don't know if he mentioned that. Y'all let me know. But he's a military man, very fit, very like got himself. He's very put together, very put together. So, and he's very like bright as well. That like positive. So I'm like, okay. It's a lot of dark energy women on here, and I'm just like, I need y'all to be a little bit more happy. I need y'all to smile. Like, I don't even know if we realize, and I do think it's because as women, we're so strong that we don't even realize how it comes out. Like, I do wish sometimes I could be more just like free and whimsical. And I think I find other ways to express that, like obviously my hair or different things. But I do feel like in most cases I'm in my head a lot. So I am very just strong all the time. And I think that's the thing with Alex. She's very strong. So let's fast forward to meeting her dad. Okay, her dad has MS. And I don't know if it was her actual mom or her stepmom, but I know that they've now divorced. The parents are now divorced. And her two brothers are there. Tim is on the grill. He's cooking, like, and even in her body, like, even in the way that she went out there to speak to him, she was like, okay, my dad's going to come. We're going to talk to him. I'm going to tell him this, and this about the project. And then, actually, I'm going to take my ring off. He's not going to know that we're together. Y'all, I'm looking at my braids because I feel like in person they look a hot mess. But, period. She's like very calculated with how she wants to do the things. And I feel like this would be me as well, because the reactions and the things, and if you don't explain it just right, then there's not going to be a buy-in. So she's doing that. And she's like, okay, then because we don't need to move him because he has MS. So we'll have him here, then we'll go out. And I'm like, she's so nervous. She doesn't kiss him. She doesn't hold his hand. She doesn't give him a hug. She doesn't say like, I'm excited for this. I'm just like, man, we are really down bad as far as the emotions, like between Hannah and Alex and Taylor. I'm just like, come on. So fast forward, like he meets the dad, and the dad is very emotional. And he's like, this is my baby girl. Like, I trust you and all the things. And I will say it's very interesting to see dads. Like, I like how they have dads on here for the Black girls, because y'all know the trope. As Black people, as Black women, we ain't got our daddies. I mean, Tierra Marie made a whole song. I ain't had no daddy around when I was growing up. That's why I'm not enough. Y'all think because these jeans fit out good, don't let my cute face fool. She made a whole song. Like, it was a thing. So it's very important to see these dads It's very important to see these Black women, put together. It's very important to see them soft. Like, we are fighting a lot of media tropes. Y'all know the media, how they portray Black women. Y'all know we got the mammy, we got all the different things. Y'all, I'll break it down for y'all one day. So it's very good. It's very nice to see these portrayals. He eventually does accept Tim as his son. And I was just like, if they can get it together, that's going to be a great dad and son-in-law relationship. But I pray for Alex, because even her place, I was very like, and she was comfortable in that. I do want to mention she was comfortable in that. So that means that either all her life she's had to show up so put together, or she's had to be put together for others, or swoop in and take care of the things for others so much that she's fine and organized. Chaos, because I can tell y'all there's been a time when my place looked like that and I was just fine. So I don't know about that one. I don't know. Do I think they're gonna make it down the aisle? I'm gonna say yes. I feel like the love for just where Tim feels he could take them, I feel like that is going to outweigh the things. I feel like I keep wanting to call this girl Nicole. I feel like Alex's love for her dad and the way that he's accepted Tim will kind of help her, because even her mom was very receptive. Like, oh, have you guys argued? Because she probably knows, like, it's there, honey, because Alex is like her daddy. So I don't know. I do think they'll make it, though. I hope they'll make it. Okay, I saved the best for last, because although they've been the best and they've been doing the things, they also have the most shocking news. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Ashley and Tyler. Now, in the pods, Ashley's very beautiful. Okay, the hair is on, the face is on, the makeup's on, body's on, all the things. Ashley is bee's knees. But I know that Ashley was very, I can't even think of the word, y'all. My eye has been twitching so bad in the last 2 weeks. Just so bad. But Ashley has been very like calculated and very apprehensive with Tyler, because whenever you be like, it's like, I want to believe you. I swear I do. But I know them. I know them to a T. And I know that if you were this perfect, if you were that guy like that, you wouldn't be single, because it's plenty of many of me's and plenty of many of us out there looking. So, I would be watching her respond and I would be like, yeah, she knows and she can feel that there's something else there, but she's probably fighting herself, because we naturally think that way. We always think something bad's going to happen, or people are not what they seem. That's like an insecurity part, right? That's like I've been done wrong, so I won't find the good again. So I can't blame her for wanting to put herself fully in it. I feel like she had lots of conversations where he could have answered this. A lot of times presented themselves for him to be honest. So I feel like she held herself back a lot up until even when they met in person. She was like, even when she told about herself, she said, I have freckles on my hand. Like, she was very like, I'm going to take this very seriously. So, and they had a very like romantic, like they were listening to the song together. They were emotional. He was talking about his upbringing, and he said that he feels very safe with her. And I'm like, if you felt this safe, why not in the pod say this, or hint around or ask questions like, how do you feel about kids? How do you feel about someone donating their sperm? Like, how do you feel about, the community? How do you feel? Like, nothing was on camera that showed that he even made an effort to share these things. So in an interview with Sharonda from Pay or Wait, he was saying that in his paperwork to get on the show, he did not include that he had kids. Now, to me, you having kids, it is like a bit of a nuanced conversation in this case, because he doesn't have kids as far as like maybe like he takes care of them on the daily, he supports them financially, he has a relationship with them as far as they live with him and they're a part of his daily life. But he does have kids in a sense that he did give of himself to someone or a couple so that they could have children. Now, there's lots of questions here. Like people are like, were you involved with this woman? And then in her next relationship, now she's with a woman and they wanted children. So they came out and saw you and y'all were engaged in intercourse. Were you, did you give of yourself to a sperm bank? And then it was for a couple, but I think that he knows the woman or women. So it's just like a lot of questions and it makes it very sketchy because it's just like, why weren't you honest? Why weren't you on? Oh. So when they show us that and, she's like, I just wish that you would have said something. Like we had all these conversations and he was like, he didn't want to say anything on camera. Like, just give me this chance. Like, and, meeting her family, meeting her dad, he was very like, Ashley's like, she's like this and she's like that. And, I give you, I accept you and all the things. And like everything was falling into place for them. But the way they kept talking about kids because I kept hearing about him having kids. And I'm like, yeah, well, I feel like when you go on a show, you have to get in front of the thing so you can control the narrative, because if not, like it's going to come out like this. And one thing a Black woman don't like, and I feel like most women, is being embarrassed. Is being embarrassed because I'm not going to go all in for a man, especially a Black man, on this TV. And then you got secrets and now I look crazy. So if you had to ask me, no, I don't think that he's like a baby daddy per se, where he has like all these illegitimate children that he's not taking care of. I don't think it's that. From what he's saying, it's like he gave of himself and another couple has these children. But three kids, when you thought somebody had no kids, is a lot to accept in front of the world. 3 kids. When you thought someone had no kids, is a lot to accept in front of the world. Because you've taken away even if she wanted to ease into acceptance, you've taken that away because now she's finding out with us. I mean, essentially, she found out a couple months ago on the show. But even when she had a reaction back then, now she's got to prepare herself for our reaction and our breakdowns and our reviews and our reaction. Like, that's a lot to ask of someone, and that's why you just should have said it in the pods. But maybe he was so convinced that if he did that, then she would have said no. And that's the sad part. You do have to be ready to give all of yourself and share all of yourself. Those people who keep secrets, they feel like I have to like slowly sift out this information because I have a fear of being accepted, and that's valid. But people shouldn't have to suffer or be lied to because of you wanting to be accepted. My Lord. And that's the thing. Like, even when you think about the community, right? LGBTQ, a lot of people have been lied to. A lot of people lie on the daily out of fear of unacceptance. But you had to know, like, I'm sure on his side, if he's a human, like I think he is, it would have been eating him up on the inside. But I mean, even watching him with her dad, it was just kind of like, he was just fine. Like, he kind of been moving just fine. They've been having conversations about kids just fine. It makes it feel like it was intentional and you're a pathological liar. I just really don't want to believe that about you, Tyler. I don't. But I do want to say, if we're going to have Black people on this show, if we're going to have Black girls on this show, I need them to work out. What's the couple that was in Washington and the guy makes sneakers and the girl, like, they're perfect together? That's a beautiful couple right there. I don't want to see more Black trauma. I don't want to see more Black dysfunction and broken homes on this TV. You guys do a great job of doing it already. We already got a lane. Tyler Perry's already there. We don't need to see a whole lot, okay? We want to see things work out because more often than not, Black couples are thriving as well. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think about the show. I know this is a long 1 hour. We talked about a whole lot, episodes 1 through 9, which essentially 1 hour is a good job. Okay. But if you're into the show, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comments. Yeah, if I had to do my list of antagonists or villains, like I told you guys, my number 1 spot is Leo. It's definitely going to Leo. Okay. My number 2 spot, although I understand the psychology behind the things, is Hannah. It's Hannah. Ooh. My number 3 is Monica. And really, Hannah and Monica are kind of interchangeable because I feel like Monica was just. But anyway, Hannah, Monica. If I had to choose a number 4, my man Tyler's number 4, because liars really irk me. They really irk me. There's a special science and a special amount of apathy you have to be a liar, because I just don't know how you don't fear. Like, VeggieTales is ingrained in my mind. This whole, like, the Bible stories of lying and like fire and brimstone and burning in hell for like a little white lie, that's ingrained in my mind from church. So when you just have the ability to just spout off lies, like, with no regard as to what might happen, that's a special type of apathy. It's a special type of apathy. And I would put Tyler before Alex, because I feel like Alex is another one who our circumstances and our upbringings have caused us to be a type of way. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, because every time I say I'm back, I don't be for real, but I want to be back. I want to be back and better. And that is my charge to myself, to put as much into me and mine and what I want to do in my passion projects as much as I put into everyone else's kids every day. Okay. So make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, follow me on all of the things. I'm Kim Ray. This is Kim Ray Music TV, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Period. Still got it. Still got it.